Welcome back to episode 54 of the Tall Boy Radio podcast. Now, this week, with it being so close to the Super Bowl, we're not going to pass up an opportunity to talk about that. But first, it's only right and it's only proper that we introduce our guests. Two guys who, let's face it, if it wasn't for them, this podcast wouldn't exist. Tiddy and Shiner from the Tiddy and Shiner show. These are the guys we've said before that inspired me to start the Beans Does Stuff podcast, which came to life when Gaz and Andy joined me, and it formed into Tall Boy Radio. So we are truly, truly honoured to have you guys on here. So if you guys want to say hello and tell us a little bit about what you're drinking and how your day's going.
Hey, yeah. Well, I am Shiner McShine, half of the incredible shit show that the Tiddy and Shiner show is. As far as drinking, I've actually just got Dr. Pepper right now because it's 2:00 in the afternoon. If we start this early, we're never going to see the sunset. So, although we do have a bottle of Jura Scotch whiskey close by. Nice. So, yeah. And who are you, my fine friend?
Oh, my name is Big Tiddy, and I'm going to take a drink. I haven't drank in a long time. But I needed it.
Good man.
All right, gentlemen.
We're good. We're good. So, Gazzy, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you're drinking?
Yeah, hi, guys. Really, really looking forward to this. I'll go back to what Adam's just said. Absolutely honoured to have you two guys guesting for us. And after being admonished last week for my poor choice in beer, this week I've gone back to an old favourite TBR, which is Hoygarden. And I am drinking it out of official TBR merch. So, really looking forward to this topic. I love. Nothing better than drinking a couple of beers and talking about NFL. So, yeah, all good.
Now, here's a question. What do you plant in your Hoygarden?
Fine tasting beer. That's what I'm hoping to plant in there. So, yeah, absolutely.
Andy?
Hello. So I'm drinking the Straff Hendrick. It's a nice 11% beer. Well, I nearly drank it now. But looking forward to today and seeing and to be a fanboy with you guys.
Thanks for that. And obviously I've got a special beer. You know me, I like to have something a little bit different every week. And a couple of weeks ago, so I think it's the episode that's live now as we record this, the dark episode, I had a Stay Puft marshmallow beer, which was flavoured with honey glazed ham, and it was not good. It was no good.
That sounds rough. That sounds rough.
It really was no good. It literally tasted like there was a ham in a can. So I'm not
part. You had to chew it.
Yeah. Yeah, it took some drinking, but it was a strong one. It was a 9%er, so the more you drank, the less you cared. So this week I've gone with a white porter, and it is eggnog flavoured from the same brewery, the Stay Puft marshmallow beer.
Interesting.
Tiny Rebel.
What do you think about that one?
This one's not too bad, actually. It smells a bit rough, but it tastes pretty good.
I like eggnog.
Yeah, it's got an afterkick of eggnog. Now, I think, Big Tiddy, before you've described the beers that we drink on here as being like the stuff that comes out of a cow's third stomach. And this,
I don't remember saying that. Although I do remember stating that the hops are ridiculous. They've gone completely overboard. Here in town, in Tulsa, we have a group called the Hanson Brothers. Remember the song Mbop?
Yeah.
Those guys. They have a brewery. And actually, they put out some pretty decent beers, but they put out this one beer called Hop.
Ah, yeah.
The most horrible tasting beer I've ever put in my mouth. It would have been no different than if I would have just grabbed a handful of hops and just started chewing.
Well,
horrible.
There goes our beer sponsor for the show. That didn't go very well.
But we like the song Mbop, so there you go.
Yeah, we said we're looking at making a beer, aren't we? A Tall Boy Radio beer, and that was one of the names that we were considering. The cow's third stomach. I think that's a great name for a beer, especially the kind of stuff that we drink. The colour of it as well. You know what I mean? It goes perfectly.
I was going to say it kind of fits all the way around.
Yeah, it does. It does. So we're going to be talking about American football, or football as you guys call it, that side of the pond. And Gaz, you were just giving me a stat today that I know Big Tiddy will enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. 26th of January. Was it 35 years ago today? The mighty Chicago Bears won Super Bowl 20. So, go Bears!
They did. And watch out, 2026.
Is that when we get? Is that
2006?
Is that when we get rid of Mitch Trubisky though, and actually had a decent quarterback in, or not? Or I don't know. I'll wait and see.
Do any of you guys have now? Beans, your team's out. I mean,
Yeah.
Who are the teams you guys are pulling for?
So Bears. I'm a Bears fan.
Oh yeah, Bears. What about Andy?
I watch anything that pops up on TV, or generally Detroit Lions. So top tier team.
You sound very enthusiastic.
Yeah, we laugh every time he says
Andy's
Detroit.
Is kind of interesting.
Andy's setup is interesting.
You have a complete blurred background,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah, it's in the settings.
yeah.
My room's a mess at the minute, so
Like he's
I
got
have to
this
blur it
false
out.
depth of field going on.
I know. It looked pretty cool. Like he's got like maybe a 20 millimeter lens or something like that.
Last few weeks he's been in sepia for some reason. Can't figure out why.
Got to keep them on their toes.
As soon as the record button comes on, it's like, it goes all like brownie coloured, old timey something.
So
Okay, so we're just gonna throw out a disclaimer right now. Like, I know you guys want to discuss the NFL, but any of your listeners that don't listen to us, we've got a real bad habit of catching a left turn, and there's no telling where we'll end up. So if any of your listeners are just like hoping that this is 60 minutes of nothing but NFL, I can't make you any promises. Like,
I don't see that happening either. I'm impressed we got this far in, and we're
I was going to say we're about 10 minutes in, and we're talking about the NFL, so that's good. That's good.
check.
But it's interesting though, because we got the NFC North pretty much well covered here. We got the Bears, we got the Lions, we got the Packers.
Yeah, can I just ask a question from you? How do you two even speak to each other? One being a Bears fan and one being a cheesehead. How does that even work?
We've said it before, like on paper, we should be arch enemies. Like, I mean, it shouldn't work like this. So yeah, I have no idea how that's working. And the two colleges here in the state, he pulls for the Oklahoma Sooners, and I can't stand them, and I'm always pulling for the Cowboys. So I don't know how we even hang out.
You might want to pull out your tattoo.
Yeah, I actually ended up with an OU tattoo off a lost bet one year, and it's about this big on the back of my calf. So it's not like I went like the cheap way out. I go to the store every summer. I'm in the store, and people are like, "Oh, you're a Sooners fan?" And I'm like, "No, I hate them." And they're like, "What?" I lost a bet, and they're like, "Oh God."
It's the first. I remember when Adam sort of first said that sort of one was Green Bay and one was sort of the Bears, and I was like, "Really?" And these guys talk to each other regularly. So I don't see how that works. But hey, that's just me. Don't know.
That's it.
I've actually been a Bears fan my entire life. Used to live in Chicago, and so it's the love of the Bears. Now I can't stand the Chicago Cubs
Right. Okay.
or the White Sox.
Really?
Yeah, but give me some Bears.
There you go.
You
I'm
see,
in
it's
love.
strange because when I started watching NFL, sort of early 80s, Chicago were half decent. So I picked Chicago as my city. So then started watching the Bulls and the White Sox. And so all of the American sports, effectively, Chicago became the city that, is my American city. And then from that moment, I literally just follow the Bears. So
He just decides he lives in the Windy City all of a sudden.
absolutely. Love the Windy City. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Listen,
Now I feel bad. I feel like I should adopt a city in the UK. And like,
You should adopt a city in the UK.
I should.
Right, that's our goal.
That is our goal.
We
But they have to have
definitely
I need one that has a good football team. So when I get a jersey, I'm sporting like a quality jersey, not like a Bears.
Manchester then.
See,
But
this
yeah,
could happen.
could happen. We're definitely going to do that. You can't have London though because they have too many teams, so you can't have London.
Now, Gaz's story is why he supports the Bears is better than my story of why I support the Steelers. Now, obviously, growing up, I always knew I had American relatives. My dad had told me that they were from Pittsburgh. what he admitted to mention was it was Pittsburgh County, Oklahoma.
McAllister.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, McAllister. So yeah. So I obviously I followed the Steelers for years, and when I started tracing my family tree, I was looking for.
So you pick a
Pittsburgh.
team and follow them based on some bad information. Well, it wasn't bad. It was just not all the information.
Yeah, yeah. And to be fair, it led me to a fairly decent team, so it worked. It
That's
worked out okay.
hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. And interesting enough, actually, in terms of following, like why I started listening to the Tiddy and Shiner podcast was actually I traced my family tree, discovered it was Oklahoma, so I thought I want to listen to something from Oklahoma that's made in Oklahoma that is literally telling me a little bit about Oklahoma life. So I thought I'm going to find myself a podcast. So I'm flicking through, I'm scrolling through all these like dull-looking podcasts, and I come across one called the Tiddy and Shiner Show. And Gaz, what do I call my daughter? What have I called my daughter since she was a few months old?
Well, his daughter's real name is Matilda, but everybody knows her as Tiddy.
Tiddy. So she's Tiddy.
So Adam's daughter. So she's my goddaughter, and literally she's Tiddy. That's what I call her. That's what her name is. That's Tiddy.
I'm Uncle Tiddy.
This was destined to happen.
Yeah, well, we have to call her Little Tiddy now.
Precious little Matilda.
I just want to offer an apology. Like out of all the podcasts that were listed, you made the grave error of like picking this one to get hooked up with.
All the ones he scrolled past. Yeah, I'm sorry.
All the informative ones.
I did notice that he had to scroll through many shows to get to ours. So.
Yeah. Well, no, I just searched Oklahoma, and obviously I think your description is like two Oklahoma boys in it, so it came up.
Yeah, when you go through that list, it says worst podcast on the planet.
We're at the top every
Yeah,
time.
go to the other one.
Yeah. Well, actually, talking of list, that's probably a great opportunity to shout it out now that we are still in the charts in Poland and have been now for nearly 4 months on Apple Podcasts. We are 44 in the charts on documentary podcasts. That's just ridiculous, isn't it?
I wonder what it is about the people in Poland that are so drawn to you guys. That's awesome, though.
Yeah, I presume it's Andy's Viking looks. I don't know.
It must be.
If you got beer, they got sausage. It's America.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
the best is people are going to listen to this show and think we have the accents.
Yeah. No. Look, I think about a third of our listenership's in the States.
Is it?
Yeah. That was about 60% the UK, but a third is the States.
They're probably all the scoundrels we've sent over to you guys from our show.
I think so. I think it helped. I think it definitely think it helped. So then let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the NFL. Let's talk about our seasons then. So which one of you guys want to go first, talking about the NFC North and how that one sort of played out this year?
Well, NFC North. I mean, obviously you got the Bears. You got Green Bay. Minnesota.
Yeah.
And I'm missing one.
Detroit Lions.
Andy wasn't even chiming in on that either.
They're so bad he doesn't even care.
Yeah. You're sitting there like, I'm missing one. I look at Andy, he's just sitting there blankly staring. Typical Lions fan, you can't blame him. I mean,
hey, it's better than the Washington Nobodies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've got a good friend who is and Redskins, ex-Redskins, whatever he's a Washington football team fan, and he couldn't believe sort of what was going on in terms of the naming and the rebranding. So, what are they? The Washington football team now? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I'd almost rather they not put another name in. Just like it is.
Yeah.
They got the best kicker on the planet right now, Tress Way. He's an OU boy, Oklahoma University. He's one of the team captains. Yeah. It's rare to have a kicker as a team captain. Yeah. But he's one of those motivating people that just gets under everybody's butt just enough to light it on fire and get them in a game. So yeah, I much respect him. But back to the NFC North, much love to Green Bay. I mean, they went as far as they could possibly go. Beat us 3 times, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, COVID just made it a really weird. COVID has made all the sports very strange, but And I've told Tiddy before, I almost feel like these results shouldn't really stand because you take the crowd out of the game, and you've taken one of the biggest factors that's going to have an effect on that game out of it. It's kind of sad to see. I guess we got to do what we got to do, but I mean, it certainly has been a weird time to watch professional sports.
Yeah, sure. I don't know whether or not it's the same because I haven't looked as much, but in the UK, obviously soccer, as you call it, football as we call it, the home field advantage definitely isn't as big this year as it has been previous years, just because of the fact that there's no crowd, there's no home field advantage. So, is that the same in terms of? Do you guys think in terms of the NFL, sort of in America, are you getting more away wins or not?
No, I mean, I think everybody's taking everything with a grain of salt because we know things are going to change again. Not sure what they're going to change to.
Yeah.
Whether we're going to get more audience, whether we're not. I think there's 30,000 people that are invited to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that place will hold 160,000 or something like that. So
It'll feel empty. I definitely, I think I'm surely somebody's gathered those stats. I mean, the way some guys are with stats, but that'd be interesting to look at to see if there's been more away teams winning than there usually is, because we always talk about it in terms of UFC fights, because a crowd at a UFC fight can change things in the blink of an eye, and those guys are fighting in empty auditoriums, and I'm like, man, these results could be completely. I mean, I think the McGregor fight the other night would have been totally different than it was. He feeds so much off that crowd, and they're not there.
What did you think of that? Did you think going in? Did you feel as though, I know we should be talking about the NFL. We're now talking about UFC. There's your first left turn.
Yeah, we do.
You see, I'm a big UFC fan as well. So did you think that McGregor was massively favourite and heavily favourite going into that fight, or?
I thought it was going to be a good fight. I did think he would walk away as the winner in that fight, though. I mean, I thought that was pretty much a given. I think most of the people, unless you were just super tied into the combat sports, I think most people thought that way. But, I mean, props to the dude that beat him. I mean, you get a win on Conor McGregor, that's something you're going to have as a shining spot in your resume for the rest of your life. That was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because one of my friends in the UK, he watches UFC a lot, and he sent me sort of a WhatsApp message asking, did I think McGregor was going to win? And I said, probably, but I do have a slight nagging feeling that actually Poirier might win and might do it. And I just wish I had a bit more conviction and bet on it and put some money on it, because actually, obviously he did, and the rest is history and all that. But do you think that then that would have been different if the crowd were there? McGregor would have. Do you think that would have made a massive difference?
I do.
I think so.
I think that would have been a completely opposite result in that fight, because McGregor feeds so much off the crowd, and he's such a showman, and he's trying to put a show on. And I think you take that away from him, and that's a big part of his game. I mean, he likes to say he's not, he's confident, he's not cocky. He's very cocky, and people like that feed off the energy that the crowd's giving him. You take that away from him, that's a whole part of his repertoire he doesn't have access to. Then stuff that happened like the other night's going to happen.
Yeah.
We talked about this a little bit, didn't we, the other week when we had Dave on from Double Trouble? We talked about the darts, and there's a character there, Gerwin Price, and he's another one that sort of the crowd either not so much get behind, but get on his case. And this is a guy who's performed incredibly well in the last 12 months. And we were asking the question: is it because no crowd? There's nobody there, literally. They boo the hell out of this guy, don't they, Gavin?
Yeah, literally he walks on stage and the whole crowd boo. He plays his darts and the whole crowd boo, and he hits
it's
a
like
double
when we
and wins
go to
a
host
match.
events, it's like that.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And we were sort of saying, I wonder whether or not he's had such a good year. Is that because actually there's no crowd to get at him? So it's almost the opposite.
Yeah.
That's
I
been
didn't
kind
think
of a break for us, because we host a lot of events in Tulsa. Not saying we're well known, because we're not that well known, but we're known around the city, and so we'll host concerts and benefits and that kind of stuff, and it's kind of been a nice break from that, having COVID, to not have to do that.
Yeah,
that was a very interesting point, though, that it worked the opposite with the dart player than we were. I never thought about that, but I guess it could have that just the biggest effect on the opposite end. I mean,
if you're the guy that the crowd dislikes, actually, with no crowd there, that's massively going to work in your favour.
Yeah.
Whereas, the home field advantage and the home field court and all of that works in your favour. But actually, if you're the other guy, if you're the guy that everybody hates and all of a sudden there's no crowd there, this guy's had a stellar season. He's had a massive season. He's now world number one. So, and we were sort of talking about, is that related to the fact that he hasn't got anybody there booing him and getting on his back and hating on him, basically. So, which is a bit weird. It's a bit of a weird dynamic. So,
yeah, it's been peculiar. It has been peculiar.
I got a question, Gaz, being a Bears fan. If you're a Bears fan, you almost have to have a second team to root for. So,
yeah.
So, I here lately have been watching the Cleveland Browns because of Baker.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've been digging on that. But true to form, you almost need a second team with the Chicago Bears. Otherwise, you're just going to be empty.
Well, historically, my second team was always the 49ers. And they would be the team that I would look for no other reason other than Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. Really, they for no other reason other than those two guys. When I started watching it, they were the guys that were around. They were doing really well, and so the 49ers really were the team that, other than the Bears, that I would look for. Really, so yeah, they would be my second team. Really,
I'm glad you didn't say Kaepernick.
That's a whole different story and a whole different podcast.
Yeah. What about Lions fans? Do you guys have a second team when you're a Lions fan?
They don't have a first team.
They don't have a first team.
I watch soccer instead.
Their second team is their
He bails. He leaves the NFL
Oh
after
my
that.
God, that's funny. Yeah, one of the greatest to play the game. Barry Sanders played for
Yeah.
Detroit, and he's a Oklahoma State University grad. So,
Oh, nice link.
Another
I like what you did
connection.
there. Yeah, nice. Like
Where's
that.
his son's playing somewhere now?
he was at TU. He graduated.
That's right.
I'd say, even though they beat us twice towards the end of the season, put us out of the playoffs, I've enjoyed seeing the Browns. They've been a joke. They've been a joke in the NFC North for years, and seeing Baker Mayfield come in and really, really make a difference. I shouldn't say it as a Steelers fan, but I love that guy. I love to watch him play. That guy is aggressive.
Well, I know
They suck since before Bernie Kosar.
Yeah, they've sucked for decades.
Mayfield
He was such
coming
a
in.
big deal that when they won their first game with Baker as the quarterback, Budweiser set all these machines in town, and they had full of beer. And when the game was over, they entered a code, and bam, they all opened up
all
and
the
it's free
machines
beer
and
all
people-
over the city. I'm like, if you got that kind of power on your first win, man, this is going someplace.
Wow.
And back to a state, Ohio, in which he had just recently planted the OU flag in the middle of Ohio State University field. I didn't think he'd ever be welcome back in Ohio, and they love him like a second son. So
Yeah. I do think that there are a couple of quarterbacks that have changed drastically their team. So you look at Mahomes at the Chiefs, without doubt, changed that team. Mayfield at the Browns, and although it pains me to say it, I don't like the guy personally, but I like what he's done. Tom Brady for the Bucs has done the same thing. I don't like him, but I like what he's done to that franchise. He's gone in there and completely changed the Bucs from a team.
he and I
that
have
were-
a major beef. I've got major words to say to him. He stole my wife.
really?
So
Is that a different podcast, or can you say that on here? So yeah, I just there are a couple of young, like Josh Allen has done a great job with the Bills as well. He's done phenomenal to get them where they are. I just think some of the younger quarterbacks, I feel as though there's a slight changing of the guard. So Drew Brees, Tom Brady, although he might win another Super Bowl, a couple of the older guys. So Aaron Rodgers came out, was it yesterday or a couple of days ago?
retiring, I think.
Yeah, and basically said effectively it might be the last game that he's had. which is great for us as a Bears fan because it means we might beat the Packers. But hey,
I'm not convinced it'll make that much of a difference to you guys. But yeah, Breeze as well, Drew Brees. It looks to me like he's played his last game as well for the Saints. Do you think he's going to be hanging up his cleats?
I don't think he's going to play for anybody but the Aints. I'll leave the S off of it because they suck.
There was some talk though.
I don't think we'll see Breeze go somewhere else to finish out his career. I think he's probably done.
He's too much of a second son to that city now.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going anywhere. And I never thought he would go there. He came out of San Diego.
Yeah.
So, and that was a long
I'm just glad Favre's not still playing. I mean, Favre. I didn't think Favre was ever going to hang it up.
So what about Rodgers then? Do you think he will retire completely or just retire from the Packers and he'll go somewhere else?
I think he's going to continue selling insurance on television and not play another game of football.
Yeah, I think he's going to end it. He's going to call it quits. It'd be pretty sacrilegious for Rodgers to go somewhere at this point. Although it was the same thing with Favre, and Favre went to the Vikings.
Yeah.
But Brady left the Patriots and went to the Bucs. So, you know.
Yeah.
And nobody saw that
feel about
coming.
this Super Bowl? How do you think this Super Bowl's shaping up?
I had the day booked off after the Super Bowl. I watched Super Bowl every year. I've cancelled that day off. I don't want to watch Brady win another. Brady with home field advantage. I don't see him losing that one.
I don't know. I as much as I like what he's done with the Bucs, I don't see their defense standing up to the Chiefs' offense. I just think Mahomes has got too many weapons and too many. I can see the Chiefs winning that, if I'm honest.
I'll put $100 on the Chiefs.
Yeah. I think the Chiefs. And don't get me wrong, I think Brady potentially is the greatest of all time. I think if he wins with this Bucs team in 2 weeks' time or whenever it is, I think he will definitely become the greatest of all time.
I don't think you can argue now, but yeah, I think that'll be the icing on the cake. And I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch it happen.
That's how I feel about him. I don't like him.
Yeah.
No, I don't like him. I don't like him as a person. I don't like his persona, but I can admire
it's okay.
and I can see what
we're all
has
friends
done.
here. You can admit that you do. I mean, we're all friends here, bud.
I really don't like the guy, but I like what he's done.
He needs to go to Lions to prove it.
Really?
So
I think Mahomes is going to go in there and that kid's really good under pressure. I mean, he's always played like a seasoned quarterback. Like he didn't really have a lot of growing pains. So I think he's going to surprise a lot of people and keep his composure. I think the Chiefs got a real shot at it.
Plus, he knows Jake from State Farm. So
he got that going for him.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen him throw that no-look pass?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean,
insane.
How you can master something like that?
Yeah.
No, I'm not even accurate with a toilet. I'm supposed to be accurate with a ball.
It makes me so nervous when you're at my house and you say stuff like that.
Not looking is your first mistake with the toilet.
Yeah, the no-look pass and the toilet are two completely different things. No, that's the soundbite for this podcast. There we go.
Oh, don't get him started. Tiddy's got a number of toilet stories.
Not only that, I got sound effects and toilet button right there.
That's why we spend the big money on toys, so he can have toilet sounds.
Well, absolutely.
I was just going to fire a question off to you guys. What did you think, or do you think about the potential of a London franchise? Because I know they've talked about the Jacksonville Jaguars being the London franchise. What are your guys from America? What are your guys' sort of thoughts on that?
I would love to see them put a team in London and maybe Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
Or because I know France is going to be like, they have football fun. But there's other places, that I know there's a businessman in Hong Kong who would love to bring the NFL to Hong Kong.
Right.
But I don't think those guys are awful short over there, so I don't think they'll play.
Because it goes, I suppose it goes back to, was it what's it called? Not the World League, is that what it's called? And you had like the Rhine Fire and you had the London Monarchs. And there was that,
NFL Europe.
NFL Europe, and it sort of worked for a couple of years, but then died a death a little bit because they were all college players and there was no real progression route. So, and I know that, is it Shahid Khan? Is that what his name is? The Jacksonville, is that his name?
Jags. Yeah.
Jags.
He tried to buy Wembley as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he tried to buy Wembley Stadium effectively. So, and that fell through. So that obviously at that point was, if this guy's going to buy Wembley, and but they were going to be the London team, weren't they? They signed a 10-year deal to have their home games at London and this, that, and the other. So I was just curious to see whether or not you think that's something that will happen, or would you, as Americans?
I think based just like when they take the teams over to play now. I mean, the turnout over there has always just shocked me. Like, I mean, everybody's there. The stadium, well, I'm not this time, but I mean, usually the stadium's full. I mean, people are buying into it. So I think it'd be great for them to look into doing it.
The only bad part, the logistics of all the travel from everybody is just going to be the big king expense.
Yeah. I mean, they started doing it so that if you played in the UK, you had the week off the following year. That was your rest week, and then they stopped doing that. I think the Colts were the first side to play in the UK and then play the following week there. But we've been to quite a few of those games, haven't we, as well, Gaza and Andy? We've been to quite a few, and we'll go. We've seen the Steelers there. We've seen the Bears. We've seen the Jags a couple of times. We've seen the Colts. We've seen the Chiefs. We've not seen the Packers, have we? We've seen the Lions.
Packers haven't come over though, have they? Because are they the only team that have not come
Packers
over?
Are the one side that's not played. Yeah, the one side that's not played. Okay.
They might be the only team. I'm sure I read it somewhere saying that the Packers were the only team not to have been into the UK.
Well, it's probably because you guys don't have enough cheese.
Well, how are the tickets like super expensive?
How many quid is the ticket?
Yeah, it was about 130 quid for a ticket.
Yeah, so there's three tier prices. So you can go basically right up at the top of the stadium, which it was about 60 or 70 pound. Then you've got what we've been to, which is like the middle tier, which was about 130 pound, and then you've got
150 US.
Yeah, about 150, 140, 150 US dollars, and then you've got the premium tickets, which is the lower seats, sort of halfway line, and they would be about £250, something like that. So, now it's okay. It's okay for
they're paying
us.
bigger money than that here.
Really?
Yeah, especially for like Super Bowls.
Or
World Series
conference championship.
Getting a ticket to the World Series behind the plate is probably the most expensive ticket. You can get a football ticket cheaper than you can to baseball, and they play 7 games.
Yeah. You see,
Yeah.
it's okay for us because we might go and watch one game, but if there was a London franchise and effectively you had a season ticket and you ended up having 7 or 8 home games, then all of a sudden that becomes a little bit more pricey, doesn't it? So,
depending on how long that game keeps going, can you guys improve your seating every year?
Not automatically. So you go into we have something over here called Ticketmaster, and you basically log on and you try to get the available seats that you want. So there's no reward scheme. So if you've been for the last 10 years, you automatically get bumped to like the next ones down. So effectively, it's a bit of a lottery which tickets you get. Sort of
2002.
You literally have to die so somebody else can get a ticket.
Yeah.
They should start like a fight club for that. Like you can move up and you beat people up. That'd be awesome.
I'm on Andy's team then, if that's the case.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm with Andy.
Everybody behind Andy. 2019, we couldn't even get tickets, could we? We tried our best. All three of us online trying to get tickets. We couldn't score tickets, even though we'd been every year for like 4 or 5 years.
It seems like people go nuts for it over there.
Yeah. Well, that's the one thing that blows us away as well is the amount of guys that come over from the States. You know, London is full of Americans, isn't it? I mean, to be honest, it's a great weekend on the beer, isn't it? As long as you can keep away from the stairs on Piccadilly, but it is a quality weekend.
We go down on because you guys normally have the tailgate party the day of the game, yeah. So in the UK when they come over, they basically have it sort of the day before. So we go down on the Saturday morning and we have some beers on the Saturday. We stay over Saturday night. We then go to the stadium on the Sunday. We watch the game and then we come home. So we have sort of the tailgate experience the day before, which is fantastic for us. Because
I would be so drunk I would never make the game. Tailgate the day before.
Tailgating is the most fun you can have with your clothes on.
Yeah, that's a good time.
Yeah,
but if I started the day before, I'd never see the game.
No, but you get a sleep in between. It's fine.
No, I'm a professional. I don't do that.
Just all the way through.
I'll get enough sleep when I'm dead. I mean,
absolutely. Amen.
We're going to run hard at it. That'd be interesting to go over there and see what tailgating there versus here is like.
Yes.
I have a feeling you'd be disappointed with it, honestly.
Like, really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think you'd be disappointed with what you see.
They get crazy. I mean,
people that pull up with food trucks, their own food trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They set up big TVs in the parking lot, and I mean, it's nuts. Some of the setups people have.
You would definitely be disappointed because that didn't happen. It's basically everybody just turns up, has a couple of beers, and then walks into the stadium.
And you can just take off walking around, and people are pulling food off their grill and giving it to you. Like, I mean, that
doesn't happen.
It's nuts.
No, it's very tepid in the UK compared to that. We'd love that experience.
We did was it last week? We recorded a bucket list.
Yeah.
Podcast, which is one of the things that you and for me, one of the things that I said was to go and experience a game weekend at Soldier Field. So actually to go to the States, experience a game weekend. So the tailgate, the game, and all of that at Soldier Field. They're my team. That's what I wanted to do. So for me, that's on my bucket list of items. Now, you guys have massively sold that to me because if that's what happens in a normal tailgate party,
oh yeah,
I'm there. Like,
I mean, that stuff happens at college football games. Like, it's insane. I mean, our show 420 Eats, we've always talked about taking it and going and doing an episode at Oklahoma University's tailgate party and Oklahoma State's tailgate party because there's people down there making all kinds of crazy food. So, yeah, it's definitely something. If you ever get the chance, you'll never be sorry that you made the decision to do it.
No, it's fun. It's fun. But it's fun.
I'd love to see that. You guys do need to make that show. But I'll tell you one thing you would enjoy that we did the last time that we were down there. Something that Gaz and Shiner have in common, actually. Gaz, you ended up wrestling a midget, didn't you?
Well, yes, I did. I didn't plan to wrestle a midget. I didn't set out for that to be the goal of the evening for me to wrestle a midget. But
I can relate. I can relate.
It just happened. It was one of those. It just happened, and it just. Andy's laughing there because he was my mind. You see, I could wrestle a midget because Andy was standing behind me, so I knew I was okay. No, it was funny. We went down. We had some drinks, and there was a group of lads that started talking to us, and then this I say midget, this little lad just wouldn't shut up, and then he ended up saying, "I can take you down." I was like, "Well, dude, you can't, can you really?" Sort of thing. And then he made an attempt, and anyway, a long story, different podcast. So
ticked off the bucket list now.
All I can remember is
some of your ideas because this bucket list show, that's awesome.
I'd got him in sort of I'd got him in a headlock.
They beat us to it.
And I remember I'd got him in a headlock. I remember sort of just looking up to Adam and Andy, who were just looking at me going, "What are you, dude? What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm wrestling a midget like this."
The best thing was that while he was doing it, there was a bunch of guys in fancy dress went past, and one of them was dressed as Rowdy Roddy Piper.
It was a surreal moment. It was surreal. It really was.
Where were you guys hanging out?
All the best places.
It's just some random bar, wasn't it? That Andy had taken us to.
It just makes me want to say snap into a Slim Jim really fast.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. It was a very, very good weekend.
Anytime midgets are involved, it's a good weekend. I mean,
when this COVID is over, I promise you guys, we're going to come over to the UK.
Yeah, we talk about that. Like, we got to go over there.
Have you ever been over? Have you ever come over? Have you ever visited?
No, I have not.
I've been to Heathrow.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Well, we definitely, you definitely need to do that. And probably, Andy knows Manchester and Stockport pretty well, and there's some pretty good bars for drinking there, isn't there, dude?
Yeah, I don't care about seeing the big clock and all that mess. I want to go drink.
Do it again. Well, if I see you three together, I'm betting Andy's the one with all the drinking information. Just, I mean, look at you. I'm like, I want to talk to that guy.
Oh, Andy he's like the leader of the pack. He's I know this bar and I know this bar, and me and Adam are just like, okay, dude, you lead, you just take us there. It's fine.
Like sniff them out.
I work keep their eye on gas. Everybody's got to keep an eye on gas. He's attacking another midget.
Jesus.
Yeah,
at least that. I mean, well, no, I mean, the midget I got into it with, he kind of called me out too. So I was going to say,
yeah, I mean, he called you out. Nobody thought you were going to get to the stage, and when you the audience, and it took a second, and they in your ass.
Yeah, a pack of them. It was a pack of midgets.
It's a tornado of midgets.
Is that
I've never seen anything like my life.
Is that what they're known as? A pack? Is that it? Is there a pack?
Yeah. They're like vicious little animals, man. And one of them wasn't even a midget. One of them was just a short guy. And I've always had a problem with that. You can't be on tour with a midget wrestling troupe and just be short. Like,
you see, I'm the short guy though.
Midget football.
So the uprights would be shorter.
The running will not bend his knees because he can't.
That would beat some of the halftime shows that we see.
See, now you said this. Somebody's going to hear it. They're going to do it. Every time you give away our $1 million ideas all the time, man.
Quality.
Let's get back on the Steelers. Funny bringing back around.
Yeah.
Jerry Bradshaw was one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
And I was a hell of a quarterback. Do you guys ever watch Dynasty? Do you know what it is?
Oh, I'm so happy right now. I'm so glad they haven't spread worldwide.
I'm not going any further. Just keep your head clear of Dynasty. You're clear of it. It's like COVID. Once it's in you, it's in. Stay clear. That's a funny story for some other time.
It's a whole different podcast.
Yeah.
I love Terry Bradshaw. I love Terry Bradshaw, even not just for the Steelers, but also he was in Cannonball Run with Burt Reynolds. So, the guy's a legend. The guy is a legend. But while we're on the Steelers, and what we're thinking about Big Ben is, we've just brought in a guy from the Washington football scene. What's his name? Dwayne Haskins is his name. Quarterback. Yeah. Now, obviously, he's been a bit questionable this year, hasn't he? He's been benched a couple of times. He's been breaking COVID protocol and everything. He's not exactly the sort of, he was a first round pick. So maybe there's still a little bit of something in him. I'm wondering if this is the guy. No disrespect to OSU Cowboys guy, Mason Rudolph. I don't think he's the guy. I don't think he's the guy.
I don't either.
From Big Ben, no. And obviously the Duck. I don't know where's Duck. Where's Devin Hodgins gone? He's gone. I think is he gone the Raiders or someone like that as backup there. And then obviously we've got Joshua Dobbs. Had a year with the Steelers. We palmed him out, and he's come back. I don't think he's the guy either. So, I think Big Ben. I think he's going to do another year, and I think we're going to be looking at trading a lot of our draft picks just so we can bump up and really get an early draft pick and bring in a quarterback this year. I see it, and I see Big Ben doing a year, taking it through.
Ben's good, but Ben has not been the same since he wrecked that motorcycle.
No. Ever since he messed his chin up that time.
Not it.
Do you think that Ben's not been the same since he's lost a couple of the guys? So Le'Veon Bell, a couple of the guys that is he as good as what those guys made him out to be, or is he?
I don't know. Le'Veon Bell, as good of a player as he is, he's a shithead.
Yeah.
He messes up everything he touches wherever he goes, and if he just concentrates, he can be amazing.
Yeah.
But as far as Ben goes, I don't know. The motorcycle took a lot out of him, and I noticed that he was more of a scramble quarterback before the bike accident, and after. So it makes you wonder how truly good he could have been without that motorcycle.
Yeah. And I suppose you look at
not mobile
strength, okay, but did he have the ability to scramble as well as he would have done? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Escape.
Fair enough.
I think for me the interesting thing is about the Steelers, right? There's two players there that we lost: Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. I rate Antonio Brown. I think he's one of the best wide receivers that we've seen in the league. Le'Veon Bell, I think he was one of the best running backs that we've seen, but only because I think the Steelers' offense and their offensive line catered to what he could do. And everybody said that these guys were troublemakers and that we would never do anything while these guys were there. And then they go and they leave. And then you look at who's in the Super Bowl this time, and you've got Le'Veon Bell playing for the Chiefs, Antonio Brown playing for the Bucks. So that's my question. Were these guys ever the problem? And Gaz is busy playing like magical statues there in the corner. So let's just chuck that one out there. They've not been big players on either of those teams, though, have they? But I rate Le'Veon Bell. I've got the Le'Veon Bell jersey on tonight. I'd love to see Le'Veon Bell back at the Steelers.
Tiddy's got a call.
Yeah, that's Gaz. That's Gaz ringing, see if he can be let back into the call. While he's gone, we can talk a little bit about that rivalry between OU and OSU then, because college football is something that we don't really see an awful lot of, is it? In this country, it's shown a little bit now on BT Sports. But tell us a little bit about that. And do you guys get to the games?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been in a couple of years, but it's so big here because Oklahoma, we don't have a professional football team. So you find people they're either Chiefs fans or they're Cowboy fans. And other than that, man, Saturdays here everything pretty much except for big box stores. Everybody kind of has their life revolving. If your business is open, you got a TV on with the games on, and it just kind of rules everybody's existence on Saturdays. It creates real cool atmosphere around here. But there's tailgate parties happening in the streets and neighborhoods and stuff. So, it's a ton of fun during football season around here. And the rivalry between the Sooners and the Cowboys isn't that great because typically the Sooners have a much better team. But, you still got die fans that are going at it and talking smack the whole season. Bedlam. We had OU versus OSU. The state does kind of shut down for that. Like everybody's watching the game. So, yeah, it's a different vibe. There's a lot of people that are college football fans that aren't fans of the NFL anymore. I think NFL, they took a big hit when they let those players get away with some of that stuff that they were doing. Yeah. And you saw everybody say they're going to stop watching the NFL, and then they did. And I think the NFL's really scrambling to still bring the viewership back because there's still a lot of people that will watch NFL games and all. We just started watching them again this season.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know how the NFL is going to bring those people back to watching games like they used to.
It's interesting. I think in the UK, don't think it's suffered as much, to be honest with you.
No.
It's suffered because people can't go and see it live. But
Yeah.
I think that it's a very politically the UK is a very different scene. That it's not seen that level of effect. I don't think.
Well, that's what's sad is the politics got into like the world of sports. It's like how you don't even have that anymore. I mean, it's one of the big casualties of what's going on in this country right now because. I mean, you got all these professional athletes that are giving their political opinion, and we're like, "Hey, just shut up and play ball."
Yeah,
like,
just play a game. Yeah.
You're not Bob Marley. I don't care political games, bud. Like, let's just play ball and have a good time. And like that used to be where people went to get away from all the politics. And then you can't even do that. Like, what are we gonna do? I don't know. Sports is a very weird thing in the United States right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think everything's a little bit weird in the United States right now.
I was going to say, it's not just sports. Every day we get up, we're like, what's going to happen today? I'm like, nothing surprises me anymore. I saw a news story that Antifa was burning down the Democrats' office in Seattle. Like, they just don't care. They're going to oppose anybody and just burn everything down. I'm like, I mean, they're still providing entertainment. I don't know what to think about any of this up here. Ridiculous. I was going to develop a drinking game, but I figured it would end in a trip to the ER. Like drink every time you see a political party do something stupid. You'd be smashed by like 8:15 in the morning. I mean,
well, this is it. We despair in the UK, don't we? We look at British politics, and then you look at what's going on over the other side of the pond. You think, yeah, it could be worse.
Yeah, because for a while you guys were kind of like trying to keep up with us, I think, and then I think we kind of pulled out the A game, and everybody bailed on us.
Oh, we did the Brexit thing, and then you guys just did the hold my beer thing. We can take this. We can take this to the next level.
That's exactly what happened. There's actually a really good documentary on Netflix about a British company that influenced the 2016 election here, and they were big in influencing the Brexit thing there.
Yeah.
And
the Cambridge Analytica.
Watching how they do that, it makes you feel like an idiot because you realize how easily they're controlling you.
Yeah.
That is a good documentary. I watched the one. It's actually quite scary as to how we're all playing our own part in it because we're just flicking through and reading this stuff, and we're letting it influence us.
And they gather so much information from you. Like, it's like somebody was talking about, what's Apple selling your information, and I'm like, okay, and I already seen that documentary. And I said, well, why don't you like that? They're like, well, I don't like anybody having my, my social security number or whatever. I was like, see, you don't even understand what they're selling. Like, they are selling information about you that is so detailed, and you're about this over here, which is what they want you to do. I mean, they can build these profiles of people that are pretty much dead on just from their behavior online.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's terrifying.
I tell you what, though, I'd pay good money to see Andy's profile.
Raging alcoholic.
I'd show you titties, but your eyes would burn. I mean, you try to wash them out for the next 3 days.
Go on then. What we're heading on towards the hour mark there, so let's talk a little bit. Like we said at the start, then you guys inspired us to do what we're doing now, and we set out, didn't we? This year we set out ourselves a few podcast goals. One of those was to do podcasts with a few other podcasters, and number one on that list obviously was you guys. That was really, really important to get that checked off before we have anybody else on. We were desperate to get you guys on. So first of all, thank you very much for coming on. We really, really appreciate that. But we've got a few other podcasts planned, haven't we? With a few other podcasters, haven't we, Gaza? We're doing one in a couple of weeks with the Scottish Alchemists, which are some ladies in Scotland who taste different gins. We're sending them a local gin from here. They're sending us a local gin from there. We're gonna drink a few tipples and compare notes.
The good one is effectively the live questioning. So we said we do a podcast and we would throw ourselves open to answer any question that they wanted to ask. So effectively they're going to sort of just throw some questions at us and see what we think. So I'm looking forward to that because that could be a left turn, a right turn, that could go wherever.
Gaz is nervous about this one.
I'm very nervous about that one, actually.
We've got Mary coming on from the Purposely Curious podcast at some point. She's just going to get a whole load of questions and get us to answer it. So we're a little bit nervous
about that. No, and there's a couple of things that we wanted to do, just in terms of what we would call an OB, an outside broadcast. We'd love to take Tallboy Radio on the road and sort of record from various other places, but because of COVID and a number of other, we just can't do that. So there's a couple of things in 2021 that we had planned that it doesn't look like are now going to happen because of COVID, but hopefully later on in the year, we want to sort of take it on the road and try and get a couple of guests, not necessarily sort of socially distanced, but actually sit around a table and actually be able to talk to people live. That's one of our real goals, really, for TBR, is to get people in and talk to them and have a beer with them live. So rather than you guys, the other side of the pond and stuff, get you guys with us, just around a table. Let's drink a couple of beers and let's go from there. So that for us is a real goal in terms of trying to achieve, but because of COVID, obviously we can't at the moment, which is a bit of a shame.
I'm stoked that we were able to get this done today, because we love to watch you guys' show grow since you guys all got it together. And you think back when Bean started by himself, and then it's morphed into this, and you guys just keep getting better and better with every show. So that's why we're continuously giving you guys shout outs in our show, because we just respect the work you guys do. Beans is posting pictures where he's got all these detailed notes and stuff, and I'm like, oh man, we're doing it wrong.
No.
Look at that! Look at this guy! Look at this guy!
I got 3 lines in, and then you guys took it in a different direction.
I was just about to say, I bet he's only done the top 2 or 3 lines of those notes, and then after that, he might as well just not have bothered.
Yeah, I don't know why we bother.
Full stop.
Yeah, but that's one of the things that we're looking for. We're not brave enough to take it live yet, though. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. At the risk,
I'd love to see how that goes.
Risk of upsetting Big Tiddy now, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys take it live.
We do too. We do. I'm not kidding you. I've invested pretty much everything I made during the summer.
And we can't get it to talk to YouTube.
Yeah.
No, I feel you though, because we talked a lot about taking our show to a bar one evening and just firing the microphones up and hey, let's just go and sit down, grab some people out of the crowd, let's have a conversation with them and see where we go.
We had something
like you guys. COVID shut that down. We were trying to do that hard.
Yeah, we had something that, and I don't think it's going to happen. One of the guys that comes onto our podcast regularly, Dave from Double Trouble, they sponsor and are co-sponsors of the World Disability Darts Championship. So we were going to go up to Edinburgh in Scotland and talk to them, and we were going to do some sort of work with them, and we can't do that now just because of COVID, effectively. So that's a bit of a shame, but hey ho. But hopefully at some point, maybe.
Trying to breathe that out. You said something funny that just got me in China.
It's actually going to be a topic on our show this week.
I wondered what I did there, because I could see various tears forming in the corner of the eyes there. So
I'm looking forward to listening to that one now.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. No spoilers.
I've got a feeling it's not going to be the disability darts in Scotland, though.
Right.
But no, that is the other thing that we're planning on doing. Actually, we're planning on taking ours. It's not going to be this year now, which we'd hope to do, but next year taking it to the Edinburgh Fringe, aren't we?
Well, you say that. You're hoping.
Yeah, no, we're doing it. We're doing it. Is that a mask, or is he wearing his underwear on his face?
Is that what's
Yeah, no. Our buddy Mark Weaver, didn't he? He came on and he did the Edinburgh Fringe for a week, and that's something that we're looking to replicate, isn't it?
If we can.
We need to have a bit more confidence from you there, guys. I know it's going to happen. It is going to happen. We are going to have a go.
When. It might happen, but it's just when. It might not happen this year. Maybe 2022. I don't know.
The Edinburgh Fringe isn't on this year, so it's not.
Yeah, no, but I mean, no, but that, yeah. I just.
These guys are talking about this and that happening this year. I don't even know what's going to happen on Wednesday on our show.
I'm just sitting there thinking, as soon as we pass Joe Rogan, then it's Wembley for us.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I think that pretty much brings us up round about to the hour mark. So we're going to say our goodbyes first, and we'll let Tiddy and Shiner say their goodbyes last, because frankly, I think Shiner's sign-off line is far cooler than mine. So Gazza, do you want to say goodbye first?
Yeah, really enjoyed it tonight, guys. Absolute pleasure to have you guys joining us from over in the States. Look forward to maybe chatting again at some point. Look forward to obviously what you guys are going to do moving forward. Love to see what happens in terms of your live podcast. So yeah, loved it, enjoyed it. Look forward to next time.
Cool. Andy?
Yeah, it's been good. Good enjoyed just listening to you guys and hearing how the professionals do it.
No. Professionals, their shit would work.
And again, yeah, honestly, we're honoured. In fact, I'm enjoying a whiskey right now on my Tiddy and Shiner whiskey glass. You can see that. So yeah, I'll toast that one to you guys and thank you guys for coming on. But I'll let you guys sign off for us.
Well, cheers to all you guys. Cheers to the fans of the Tall Boy Radio podcast. I love these guys. I know why you love them too. So if you guys have an opportunity to come see us, or at least listen to us, the Tiddy and Shiner Show on any podcast platform out there, you will find us, I promise. As for me, I'll sign off on my show saying, my name is Big Tiddy, and I'll see you later. Love you. Bye.
And yeah, guys, thanks for having us on, man. This has been a ball. Like I said, man, we love you guys' show. It's been a pleasure to watch you guys morph and grow and become what you have. And man, it was an honor for you guys to ask us to be guests. So to everybody out there in the UK, you guys get out there, kick the day in the ass, and leave your mark on the world. Shiner out.
Good man.